Hey, everybody. I'm Hawk. Thanks for coming back to my channel. It is Wednesday, April 22nd. It's about 10 a.m. West Coast time. We need to talk about Iran and Donald Trump and Iran's responses to Donald Trump. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened in Virginia yesterday with the redistricting vote. And then Jordan Klepper's got a new clip out from The Daily Show. He went to a Turning Point USA rally in Phoenix and interviewed some of the Trump supporters who were going into that rally. And I did a couple of posts yesterday where it's just like, I can't laugh at these people anymore. People who still support Donald Trump. I can't laugh at them anymore because of all of the consequences that all of us are paying here in the United States and globally for the re-election of Donald Trump in 2024. And I said that I just feel an absolute overwhelming rage at these people who voted for Donald Trump in 2024. And I still feel that. And so it's like when I watch these kind of Jordan Klepper clips now, it's difficult for me to laugh at them, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try. So first up, an update on the Iran war. Donald Trump has extended his ceasefire indefinitely because he said that Iran asked him to, and because they need to organize some things on their side so that they can participate in settlement negotiations effectively. Shockingly, all of that is a lie. This morning, earlier today, Wednesday, April 22nd, Iran fired on 3 separate ships in the Strait of Hormuz. They seized 2 of them. Thus, again, in a way that they have not done over the last 7 weeks of this war, tangibly demonstrating with weapons that they are in control of the Strait of Hormuz and it remains closed. And there is a reporter at Fox News named Jen Griffin, who is a widely respected Pentagon reporter, military reporter. And she's saying that Iran never agreed to an extension of the ceasefire in the first place. So let's watch a clip of her this morning on Fox News being interviewed by Harrison Faulkner.
Harris, Iran never agreed to an extension of the ceasefire, and the IRGC Navy continues to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Since President Trump announced the extended ceasefire, 3 commercial ships, as you mentioned, have come under attack from Iran. Early this morning, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps gunboat fired at the Liberian-flagged Greek-owned Epaminondas container ship 15 miles northeast of Oman. Iran's Navy fired upon the vessel with no warning, according to the British Royal Navy, causing, quote, heavy damage to the bridge. All crew were reported safe. 3 hours later, the UK Maritime Trade Operations Center, or UKMTO, reported a second incident, this time 8 nautical miles west of Iran, where the Euphoria, a Panama-flagged container vessel, was attacked just off Iran's coast. Iran says it is now stranded in Iranian waters. And the MSC Francesca, a box ship owned by Geneva-based Mediterranean shipping company, came under attack while waiting to sail into the Gulf of Oman and was escorted into Iranian waters. The U.S. blockade continues. The U.S. Navy has turned back 28 vessels, most of them oil tankers, either sailing to or from Iranian ports. But more than 34 Iran-linked oil tankers and gas carriers have made their way through the strait despite the U.S. blockade line in the Gulf of Oman. That, according to Bloomberg. In a House Armed Services Subcommittee hearing last week, the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency warned of Iran's remaining capabilities.
Despite significant degradation of Iranian military capabilities.
So Iran is still getting their ships through the U.S. naval blockade. They're getting their oil through despite the U.S. naval blockade. And they're firing on international ships from other countries, seizing them and leaving them hobbled and crippled inside the Gulf. Iran is in control of this war. Iran is in control of this war as it relates to the United States. It's wow.
Through coalition strikes during Operation Epic Fury, Tehran retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack UAVs capable of threatening U.S. and partner forces throughout the region.
A new analysis by the Center for Strategic and International Studies warns that during 7 weeks of war against Iran, the U.S. military has depleted 45% of its precision strike missiles and half of its inventory of THAAD and Patriot missiles needed to intercept ballistic missiles.
And we're running out of weapons. We're shooting down $50,000 drones with $3 million guided missiles, and we're running out of them.
And right now, military planners from over 30 countries will hold two-day talks in London, UK, starting April 22nd. President Trump's 3 to 5 day ceasefire deadline coincides with the arrival in the region of a third aircraft carrier strike group, the USS Bush, in the coming days. Harris.
You know what?
Yeah. You know, we haven't heard a lot out of Pete Hegseth lately. I wonder what he's doing. We haven't seen any of his press conferences with his Bible verses from Pulp Fiction and his middle school schoolyard bully bravado. I wonder what he's doing these days. He's obviously seen that Trump has lost 3 cabinet secretaries in less than a month. Kash Patel's currently on the chopping block, and he doesn't want to be in that group either, but he is. And it's like, so what leads up to this? What leads up to this? What led up to this? Donald Trump just making shit up off the cuff and just making things up and putting them in Truth Social posts and saying Iran agreed to everything. Iran agreed to this. Iran agreed to that. And, they've agreed to nothing, as was just confirmed in that last video. They haven't agreed to anything. They are still in control of the Strait of Hormuz. They're demonstrating that militarily. And, I can't remember. I remember like a quote, I think it was from a general back during the Iraq. It was either the Iraq War or the Afghan War that we got ourselves into. And it was a general who was speaking to one of his counterparts, either in Afghanistan or Iraq. And that foreign general noted, he was like, you guys all wear watches, but we have the time. And there's no real clock ticking for Iran right now. They're not under time pressure. Everything that can be blown up inside of Iran has been blown up, pretty much, that we can find. They still have half their missiles. They still have half their drones. They've moved a lot of those things underground, and they're still launching them at will. They're launching them whenever they want to. They still have their gunboats. I thought we destroyed their entire navy. But the clock is ticking on Donald Trump in the United States here because of the economy, because of the economic consequences here at home and globally. I mean, the closing of the Strait of Hormuz is plunging the entire planet into a global recession. And so the time pressure rests with Donald Trump and not with Iran. But I'm going to show a video here from Jay Tapper, who gives some context about the impact of Donald Trump just making shit up and contradicting himself over and over and over and over every single day.
Short time ago, President Trump announced that he is no longer imposing a deadline for the Iranians to respond. He is extending the ceasefire that was set to expire tomorrow at this time. He's extending it again. It sounds like indefinitely. He posted on Truth Social, quote, "We have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as their leaders and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and, in all other respects, remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or another."
First of all, while that's on screen, look at that True Social post. Proper grammar, proper punctuation. Nothing is in all caps. There are no unnecessary exclamation points. No words are unnecessarily capitalized. Donald Trump did not write that. Donald Trump did not write that Truth Social post. And I will go to my grave defending that. There is absolutely no way that Donald Trump wrote that Truth Social post.
Unquote. In other words, the deadline has been replaced with what sounds a lot like the opposite of a deadline, an indefinite time period. The ceasefire extension comes just one day before it was set to expire tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, and amidst a muddle of mixed messages from President Trump and his team about this war. The second round of peace talks with Iran were supposed to have started yesterday. President Trump told ABC News on Sunday morning that Vice President J.D. Vance was not going to head to Pakistan to do the peace talks. Then Trump apparently changed his mind. He told the New York Post yesterday that Vice President Vance was on his way to Pakistan to head up the peace talks. They're heading
Flip-flop, contradict, flip-flop, contradict. How is Iran supposed to rely on anything that this government says? They can't. We can't. We're not getting accurate information from this government.
over now, the New York Post quoted Trump saying. They'll be there tonight, Islamabad time. Now, the Post later updated its story, taking out a reference to specific timing. We should note, Vance remains in Washington, D.C. He has never left for Pakistan, despite the president saying he was on his way. And as for Iran, Iran never fully, formally agreed to be there for the negotiations, with a bunch of mixed messages from them as well. Trump's claim about Vance's travel is only the latest in a series of false, unproven, or confusing comments that the president and his team have made about the war in just the last few days. Last Friday, at nearly 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, Trump posted in all caps, quote, "The Strait of Hormuz is completely open and ready."
Now that's a Trump post. That's a Trump post. It's in all caps.
"Ready for business," unquote. 45 minutes later, he declared the Strait situation over. About 30 minutes after that, he posted, quote, "Iran has agreed to never close the Strait of Hormuz again. It will
That was Friday. That was Friday. That was 5 days ago. And today, Iran fired on 3 ships and seized 2 of them.
no longer be used as a weapon against the world," unquote. Sounds like great news, but Iran did, in fact, close the Strait of Hormuz again.
Yeah, Iran never agreed to that. Iran never said that they were never going to close the Strait of Hormuz again and that it was open for business. Iran never said those things. Donald Trump just put out on Truth Social that they did. So how are they supposed to be able to negotiate in good faith with the United States, especially considering that the last 2 times that they did, where they were negotiating in good faith with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff last June, in the middle of those negotiations is when we bombed their nuclear facilities. This past February, when they were negotiating in good faith with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, is when we started this war, in the middle of those negotiations. Twice, in the middle of good faith negotiations, we have attacked them.
Very next day. They said they did so because the Trump-ordered blockade of Iranian ships was still in place. As of this morning, during his interview with CNBC, President Trump sounded unlikely to reopen the crucial shipping strait for Iran.
The blockade has been a tremendous success. They said 2 days ago, "We will open the strait." I said, "No, we're not going to open the strait until we have a final deal." No, we want to open the strait. They said, "We're not opening." We totally control the strait, just so you understand, for all the fake news out there.
That interview was this morning, after Iran had fired on 3 ships and seized 2 of them. He said that. What he said is 100% completely false, and everyone knows that.
Even more confusing. Also new today, the U.S. has intercepted a second Iranian ship. The Defense Department releasing this video, calling it a sanctioned vessel, previously sanctioned by the U.S. It is noticeable that
and we're still boarding and seizing their ships. What? It's just It is such an unimaginable, unadulterated clusterfuck from start to finish, from top to bottom, from front to back, side to side. It's a complete mess. And Donald Trump can't get out of it. He can't force Iran to do what he wants them to do. And the entire planet is being plunged into a global recession because Bibi Netanyahu knows how to stroke Donald Trump's ego and got us into this war. Anyway, there was some good news last night, Tuesday night, in Virginia. The state of Virginia voted on it, passed a redistricting plan that is going to give Democrats somewhere between 3 to 5 additional seats in the House of Representatives. They put that up to a vote, thankfully. And the fact that that happened is extremely upsetting to MAGA Republican commentator Scott Jennings, also on CNN. I hate Scott Jennings. I hate CNN for putting Scott Jennings on the air. CNN has signed I think they pay him like $1 million a year, $750,000 a year, to go on the air on CNN and lie. And CNN knows that he will go on their air and lie, and that's what they pay him to do. And CNN claims to have some type of journalistic integrity when hiring people like Scott Jennings to go on the air. But Scott's upset, and I always love to watch a clip of Scott Jennings being upset.
Scott, what's your take?
Virginia literally had the fairest maps in the nation. They had a 6-5 map, 6.
I guarantee you he won't mention Texas, or that Trump ordered Texas to do this first and ordered Texas to do this legislatively without putting it up to a vote of Texas voters, which they didn't.
Democrats, 5 Republicans. In terms of proportional representation, they had the fairest map in the nation that was drawn, by the way, by an independent commission that the voters asked for just a few years ago. Now they will have the least fair maps in the nation, and I'm not surprised.
The stupidity of hearing someone like Scott Jennings talk about the concept of fairness when it comes to Congress, congressional representation, or voting is, I mean, we need stronger words, you know. Ironic and hypocritical don't carry enough weight anymore. But Scott Jennings is an absolute hypocrite in saying all of these things. And I love that this upsets him.
That the yes vote won. They had all the money and all the lies. And sometimes in politics, when you got those two things, you can put something over the line. Even something as egregious as this whole thing has driven Spamberger's approval ratings down into the toilet. She lied to the people of Virginia. They had to write a ballot question that was a joke. They drew maps that were a joke. Now you're going to have huge chunks of rural Virginia represented by 5 or 6 Democrats who all live in Northern Virginia within about 15 miles of each other. It's a complete joke. Everybody knows it. And there's a reason that all
That's a shame.
these national Democrats and all their money came into Virginia because, you know, they don't really care about the people of Virginia. They just care about power.
I mean, if we could just put that new map back up, Nira, I want you to respond to that. But if we could just put that new map back up, I mean, that's back up that you can see, obviously, what the proposed districts that were on this ballot look.
I mean, you know, when they're on the receiving end of shit that they do, they get really, 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 really angry. Shit that they do every single day all across this country. When some Democrats finally stand up and say, you know what, we can do that too. And they do it, and they do it successfully, and they do it by letting the residents of the state of Virginia vote on it. That didn't happen in Texas. Trump tried to make Republicans in Indiana do the same thing the same way, and Republicans in Indiana said no. And when we did that here in California, we voted on it to expand the map, to redistrict the map. Republicans don't put stuff like that up to a vote in the states where they want to do these things because they know those votes would fail. And, you know, Donald Trump knows how to manipulate them, and he knows how to make them angry, and he knows how to keep them on his side, just that hardcore base that he has. You know, they will defend literally every single thing that he says and does. It just doesn't matter to them because they have made Trump and MAGA their entire personality. And to say that Trump is wrong is to say that they are wrong as people, that they are bad as people, and they will never, ever, ever admit that, ever in a million years. And so it's not funny anymore. It's not amusing anymore. It's not, it's just fucking depressing and enraging seeing these people. For me now, it's depressing and it is enraging, that these dumbass motherfuckers are just holding the rest of us by the throat. So that's not enjoyable for me. And it's one of the reasons why I bought a very remote cabin way up in the woods, away from almost everybody. And I highly recommend that everyone else do the same. Anyway, it's Wednesday morning, hump day. We're halfway through another catastrophic week of Donald Trump's second term, and I think we're halfway through week 7 of the Iran war, which Iran is firmly in control of. So apart from that, everything is amazing. And thanks again for watching my channel and watching my video. I'm Hawk. Please click like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys soon. Please be safe this week. And if it's still even a thing, like, if you can find ways to take care of your mental health, I strongly encourage you to do that. Yeah. Take care, everybody.